If you keep holding back yourself, nothing will go happen. Alright? So you have to invite who you know to invite them and let them come out here to hear what's taking place in the country and where we could go forward from there. Alright? Alright. Yeah. Nice, man. Right? Nice so, yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, cool. Alright.
Toxico in your right.
Sorry, dear, sorry. Don't have your body.
For sure.
Am I going the wrong way now?
At the police station and then the
I remember we're not giving out any nowhere. We have event.
I'm anxious to go to the command.
Let's try that one.
Hello? Yeah. No, I'm not.
Excuse me.
Too late.
Too late.
Yeah, hello?
Lord, we thank you for today, dear Heavenly Jesus. Lord, we thank you that we are once again in the land of the living, dear God. Lord, as we gather to do the people's business, dear Heavenly Master, Lord, we thank you that you brought us to this spot of ground safety, dear Heavenly Jesus. Lord, remember our comrades that stand with us in solidarity today, dear Heavenly Master. Remember the families that we left behind. Remember our children, dear Heavenly Jesus. Lord, we ask you that we have a very successful demonstration today, Heavenly Jesus. Help the minds of people to be open, dear Heavenly Master, to all that we are about to information we are about to give them, dear Heavenly Jesus, Lord. And we ask that when we leave this spot of our ground, you take us back safely, Lord, to our various homes in no other name but in Jesus' almighty name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and thanks for coming to cover this very important and significant event. We are here in Sangre Grande this afternoon as the continuation of our mobilization for September the 7th. But before I say anything else, let me just recognize the trade unions that are accompanying us here in Sangre Grande. We have the Postal Workers Union, and I want you to recognize yourself as we call them out. The Postal Workers Union, yeah? Yeah. We have the Communication Workers Union. Yeah. We also have the Banking and Insurance General Workers Union, BIGO. Yeah. Of course, we have the Oilfields Workers Trade Union. Yeah. And we are expected to be joined by the leadership of other members of the Joint Trade Union movement as the afternoon wears on. We also have the TTRN here, Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurses Association. Yes, who else did I leave out? Right. We also expected to be joined by other members of the leadership of JTUM as the afternoon wears on. We are here in Sangre Grande this afternoon to continue our mobilization for what is a very serious and indeed critical matter in the history of Trinidad and Tobago today. Today, no citizen in this country is safe simply because of the high rate of murders and the intensity and the nature, the ghastly nature of these murders and the crimes that are being committed. And on Labor Day, the Joint Trade Union movement in Faizabad, we took a position that not enough, not nearly enough, is being done to deal with the crime situation in Trinidad, resulting in runaway murders where the criminals are having their way and the ordinary citizens, they just have to live behind bars and live in prison and impose curfew on themselves, while the bandits and the murderers, they are having a field day. We said then that we are going to call the government to account. We are going to call them to answer for a number of things they had committed to do, that which they did not do, which is resulting in the high levels of murders. Today, we have somewhat 323 persons being murdered in this country for 7 months in this year. Only 7 months has gone and 323 persons have been murdered. Labor Day it was 263. So it's 60 persons brutally murdered from June 19th to present time. 60 persons that are not here with us today. One of those persons could have been any one of us. One of those persons could have been any one of our family or friends or somebody we knew. And if we do not do anything going forward, one of our own relative, friends, comrades, neighbors, somebody we know can be a victim of this brutal onslaught. While we think, we see the government continues to do precious little to stem this high murder rate. Guns and drugs still continue to enter our various ports of entry and continue to come through our borders. The criminals still have unlimited access to these lethal weapons and sophisticated weapons, and they are not afraid to use it. So that today, nobody in Trinidad and Tobago feels safe. It doesn't matter how much you support the government, how much you like the government is not protecting the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. It is without dispute or question. Nobody can challenge that. Indeed, they are performing even worse than the government that they had replaced, that which they had criticized. And we are here to say fearlessly and without fear of contradiction, or even fear of condemnation, or even without fear of confrontation, that we are here to state the facts boldly, that the Rowley government is not performing insofar as many accounts are concerned, but insofar as life and limb security of the country is concerned, they are not performing. It is the responsibility of every government on this planet to ensure that all of its citizens are safe and secure. That is the responsibility of this government, and it must not escape them. They committed to do better. They are not yet so far doing better, and we are holding them to account. We do not feel safe. Our borders are not secured, and therefore we are calling upon them to do the job for which they applied and for which they had received on September 7, 2015. And we are mobilizing for the 3rd anniversary of that same date, September 7, 2018, for a day of rest and reflection, when we will send a powerful message to this government in terms of their performance overall, but in particular their very bad and abysmal performance with respect to the crime and the runaway crime situation in this country, Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah? We hold every single government to account. Everyone, without fail. And that is why we are in Sangre Grande here this afternoon. We are going to alert the community of Sangre Grande that we are here with a purpose, and the purpose is to remind them that they have a duty to tell those that which they employ that they are not doing a good job, but more importantly, ensure that they perform as they had committed to. That is our purpose here this afternoon in Sangre Grande. Yeah?
Mr. Roger, the appointment of a designated commissioner of police, what impact you see he would play in carrying down the murder rate?
Yeah. That by itself really will have absolutely no impact on the crime and the criminality in Trinidad and Tobago. And you would note, since that charade took place in the parliament a few days ago, the murders continued unabated. Unless they remove the guns from the hands of the criminals, take the guns off the streets, lock down our borders as they had committed to, ensure that the police is properly well trained and resourced, have aggressive prison reform, that is to say, reform to deal with the inmates, and also heightened training for and protection for our nation's prison officers, and also treat with the judiciary. The judiciary, in case people had not noticed, has collapsed. And therefore, all of those issues coming together, unless they treat with that in a holistic manner, we will continue to have runaway crime and murders in this country. No one is a hero. No man is an island. And especially that charade they had a couple of days ago in the parliament, that by itself would not impact or save their lives when the criminal come knocking. Yeah? Or when the criminal come to kick down your door. As I often said, the only reason why any one of us are alive today is because nobody really wants you dead as yet. Once they decide that you ought to go buy your coffin and choose your spot in the cemetery. And as we talk about the cemetery in St. Joseph, is it? St. Joseph Cemetery has already recorded being filled to capacity, and therefore can no longer accommodate any more burial. And one of the reasons attributed to that is the whole question of the number of murders that we are having on a daily basis. We could hardly find place now to bury our dead simply because of the numbers of persons and the intensity and the momentum by which those persons are being brutally killed on a daily basis. The salient message in all of this for everybody, regardless of if you are PNM, UNC, or whatever you are, is that you can be next. Yeah? And we want to prevent that. We want to save lives.
Yeah. Another question. I see you have 2 dates on your for the day of rest and reflection. 7.
On September the 7th. This is
Not,
one date.
I see 18th. What the 18th is on? Somewhere else.
September the 7th. No, September the 7th.
Just September the 7th.
Yes, we are clear. September the 7th, that being the 3rd anniversary of the PNM coming to office, getting the job, 3 years on the job. On the 3rd year, the 3rd anniversary, we want to tell them 2 things: that they are not doing a good job, and secondly, that they ought to get up and do a proper job to save our lives. We are not feeling safe in this country anymore. Yeah?
What's your response so far with your meeting the people in the various regions?
I think that's a good question. I think that the response generally has been very encouraging. Excellent. We started in Arima, we went to Chaguanas and then to San Fernando, and everywhere we go, people are complaining about a number of things. Stalled economy, workers going home, and so on. Arrogant government with arrogant Minister of Finance, and of course, at the top of the list is the runaway crime situation. Yeah? And we in the labor movement, the progressive labor movement, we are in the joint trade union movement and its leadership, we decided that enough is enough, and it is time for us to break the silence and speak out. We have always been speaking out, but it's time for us to take this country through its length and breadth and speak out against all of the ills, especially this runaway crime situation. Yeah? Yes. On behalf of the Communication Workers Union, we want to have the President make a couple of statements.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago and the community of SANGRE GRANDE. The Communication Workers Union, together with the JTUM, endorses all that we intend to do, and we are asking the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to also endorse this position. This is not a trade union issue. This is a national issue that affects all of us, and if we think it's a union issue, well then you can sit down and allow this unabated crime and the issues that are affecting Trinidad and Tobago to continue. I am saying, on behalf of the JTUM, we call on all citizens of all walks of life, because we understand who we are. We are members of the working class, and there are 2 classes in this country, and certainly the class that I'm not referring to is not going to support this position. If you feel that you are a member of the elitist class, well then you have your position, we have ours. Our position is to always raise the issues and have them addressed in a national way that affects the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. On behalf of the JTUM and all the trade unions that is represented here today, we call on all of you, all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, man, woman, child, students, everybody, to take a position on the 7th of September 2018, the 3rd anniversary of this government, this administration. We're taking a position that says enough is enough. Thank you very much. I am Joeli Mohammed, the President of the Communication Workers Union and a member of the JTUM. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Shalon Trim, First Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Postal Workers Union. The issue of crime is an issue that is dear to the heart of the Postal Workers Union because we work in a nook and cranny of Trinidad and Tobago. We are there when people die. We are there when the shots are being rounded out. Many of our officers are traumatized due to the increase of crime and murder. And therefore, we have to stand with the JTUM. We have to stand with Trinidad and Tobago because this is not an issue of PNM, UNC, or any other political entity. This is about safety for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Safety not in the context of our home, but also safety in the context of work. Because how can we go to work in an environment that's supposed to afford a certain level of safety when we are seeing people gone down left, right, and center? We have workers in Laventille, Enterprise, you watch the Las Lomas, you name it, wherever there are people, we have people working there. And in the midst of that, we are also seriously affected by this issue of crime. There are some people in the society who are not affected by crime because they could afford to protect themselves. But what about us? We do not have the money. We do not have the money to hire personal security. We do not have the money to ensure that at our homes that there is security. So then, therefore, with the joint trade union movement, we have to stand strongly against this whole issue of crime. The government has a major responsibility. One is major responsibility is to provide security in its within the context of Trinidad and Tobago. This government have failed, the past government have failed, and then therefore, as JTUM, we are starting to say, time to get it right. No longer should it be just about friends and families, but it should be about security for one and all, especially for those who are unable to afford to protect themselves in the way that others can. So Trinidad and Tobago, we are calling upon you to join with the Joint Trade Union Movement on September the 7th to sit down and rest and reflect and send a message to not only this government, but any other person who intends to want to come into the corridors of power, understanding what is their responsibility and the fact that Trinidad and Tobago will no longer sit down and allow you to do whatsoever you want, and we're going to hold you accountable for your actions. So Trinidad and Tobago, September the 7th, rest and reflect.
Excellent, excellent.
And what's that? Yeah, long distance. And when you feel like I'm going to meet you all, pull out some money. And you're well paid.
We all do.
All right. So listen to me again. Allow me then to bring you something in. Understand? Yes? So what did you do back then? I humbly apologize for what you did to you. I am honest. A multitude. Yeah? It's a form of people who are in charge. So you cannot blame right? You're happy right now. Right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Over the neighbor trying to look at you right now. Are you happy with them right now? No.
Everybody about eating.
Huh? Eating? Everybody eating?
Everybody eating.
I know your neighbor next to you, you know.
No, right through.
They're growing their own food.
No, they
see,
don't buy
you break down now? Check a statement again from where you told me before. I went to yes now. Check it out.
Marijuana.
I want to talk to everyone, so I'm just going to get my medical right and right.
Sati, do that again for me, please. From the back. It's looking good. Look how you have him blushing.
I go here already, so much already.
Fine.